The sun was barely up on a crisp October morning in 2023 when I pulled into my driveway in the quiet Willow Creek subdivision, just outside Raleigh, North Carolina. I was bone-tired from a grueling night shift, my deputy sheriff's badge still pinned to my uniform, glinting faintly in the dawn light. Before I could even step out of my county-issued SUV, a golf cart screeched to a halt, blocking my path. Out stepped Linda Hargrove, the HOA president, clutching a clipboard like it was a scepter of divine authority. She slapped a neon yellow citation on my windshield and bellowed, loud enough to scatter birds from the oaks. "Hand over your keys, deputy. You're in violation." Her voice carried the kind of self-righteous fury that could make a grown man question reality. I blinked, still in my uniform, the radio in my cruiser crackling with faint chatter from a late-night vandalism call. "Ma'am," I said, stepping out with a raised eyebrow and a calm that comes from years of dealing with chaos. "You're making a mistake." But Linda wasn't listening. Her eyes gleamed with the zeal of someone who'd crowned herself queen of this manicured cul-de-sac. "No work vehicles in Willow Creek. You're defying HOA rules," she declared, arms flailing as if addressing an invisible audience. She didn't notice the county logo on my SUV, the flashing lights, or the fact that I was the elected deputy sheriff of Wake County. To her, I was just another resident daring to disrupt her suburban utopia. Willow Creek was a tidy little community, the kind where every lawn was clipped to perfection and mailboxes matched in glossy black. I'd moved here 2 years ago, figuring my badge would keep the petty neighbor disputes at bay. I was wrong. Linda Hargrove wasn't just involved, she ran the HOA like a warlord masquerading as a PTA mom. From the day I arrived, she'd hounded me over everything. My porch light was too warm, my shrubs too wild, my existence too inconvenient. Now, she'd escalated to demanding my cruiser keys, as if she could arrest me for daring to park in my own driveway. I took a slow breath and peeled the citation off my windshield. "Linda," I said, voice steady, "you're obstructing a sheriff's vehicle. That's a problem." She scoffed, undeterred, and slapped another citation on my hood, this one for unauthorized emergency lights. I pocketed it, adding, "This'll go nicely in the evidence file." That's when she made her first fatal mistake. She whipped out her phone, circled my cruiser like a vulture, and barked into it. "We've got a rogue vehicle. I'm invoking my right to immobilize it." I half expected her to pull a tire boot from her golf cart. Instead, she stormed to my driveway, where she'd set up a makeshift HOA checkpoint, orange cones, a folding table covered in highlighters, and a sign reading "Community Patrol Active." It was absurd, like a sitcom gone rogue. I slid back into my cruiser, reversed just enough to nudge her cones, and watched her leap back, clutching her clipboard like a shield. "You're escalating," she shrieked. "That's a federal offense." I lowered my window. "So is impersonating an official, Linda." For a split second, she froze. But then came the meltdown. "I'll have you evicted. I'll revoke your residency privileges. Cops don't belong in civilized neighborhoods." She lunged for my passenger door, yanking the handle before I locked it. The cruiser's dashcam caught every second her wild eyes, her shaking hands, her unraveling empire. Later, after a nap and a strong coffee, I filed a report. Not to press charges, but to get ahead of Linda's inevitable spin. By evening, my phone buzzed with texts from neighbors claiming I'd bullied a volunteer or rammed through HOA security. I sent them the dashcam footage, no commentary needed. By nightfall, the HOA group chat was ablaze, and Linda went silent for about 12 hours. The next morning, my mailbox was stuffed with 6 new citations, each more unhinged than the last. One accused me of failing to register my vehicle with the HOA. Another claimed I'd intimidated a community officer, a title Linda had apparently invented. My favorite? Abusing emergency decals in a residential setting. I stood on my porch, sipping coffee, my dog Rusty thumping his tail, as I muttered, "Unreal." Most people would have assumed Linda would back off after the dashcam humiliation. Instead, she went nuclear. That afternoon, HOA board members circulated a public safety referendum to grant the HOA power to regulate law enforcement conduct and detain suspicious vehicles. It was like handing a toddler a flamethrower. Neighbors started whispering. Mr. Thompson, a retired Marine, grumbled, "She's lost it. Thinks she's running a fortress. Sarah from down the street brought me cookies and hissed, "Linda's telling everyone you're a threat to our values." I took a bite and deadpanned. Guess I should have parked less menacingly. We laughed, but the stakes were rising. Linda wasn't just a nuisance, she was dangerous. I decided to attend the HOA meeting, not as a resident, but in full uniform, my cruiser parked outside the clubhouse. Linda arrived late, in a blazer and pearls, wielding a microphone headset that squealed with every head toss. Her slideshow, Restoring Willow Creek's Harmony, painted me as a rogue deputy terrorizing the neighborhood. She even showed a blurry dashcam still, claiming I tried to run her over. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Some were already watching the full video on their phones, uploaded to the sheriff's site. When she proposed her new security authority, I raised my hand. She faltered but called on me. I stood, slow and deliberate. For the record, my cruiser is county property. My badge isn't a costume. And detaining a deputy is a felony, even on your perfectly mowed lawns. The room chuckled. Linda snapped, "This is an HOA matter. You're out of order." I opened a folder. What's out of order is you issuing fake citations and harassing a sworn officer. I held up her latest citation. These are unenforceable. And threatening me with them? That's civil liability. Linda exploded. You're abusing your badge. You're threatening a community leader. Then I dropped the bomb. Linda, I own this neighborhood. The room went silent. Her jaw dropped. Excuse me. I set down a folder of deeds and contracts. My LLC owns 8 rental properties here. I bought the HOA's management contract last year to keep developers out. You're not just yelling at your deputy, you're yelling at your landlord. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Linda's face went white. That's impossible, she stammered. I shrugged. Check the state records. I could dissolve this HOA by Tuesday, but I'd rather not. I just want peace. She stormed out. Half the room clapped. The rest followed her, stunned. 2 days later, a neon pink letter was duct taped to my door. Official notice of legal review. HOA versus Deputy Carter. Linda had filed a cease and desist order against me for harassment and emotional terrorism. I laughed so hard Rusty gave me a side eye. But then I saw she'd hired a lawyer, or at least someone willing to file her gibberish. The document demanded I cease authoritarian posturing and discontinue ownership claims. My county prosecutor emailed back, "Is this a prank?" I wished it was. Linda's lies were spreading. Neighbors stopped waving. Kids avoided me, and one elderly woman whispered I was building a jail in my backyard. I started gathering evidence. Emails, body cam footage, her sidewalk rants. Then came the breaking point. Friday afternoon, I pulled into my driveway to find Linda flanked by 2 HOA patrol guards in black polos, one clutching a walkie-talkie, the other zip ties. "You're in violation," she announced. "You're suspended from community access, including this driveway." I stepped out, badge gleaming. "You hired mall cops to block a deputy from his home?" She handed me a document with a fake HOA seal, declaring my suspension. I nodded, got on my radio, and said, "We've got impersonators in progress." 2 deputies arrived, smirking. The guards folded. One admitted he wasn't licensed. The other begged to leave. Linda, undeterred, screamed, "You're interfering with private enforcement." My deputy just said, "Ma'am, step away from the cruiser." That night, I filed charges: impersonation, trespassing, obstruction. Linda's security company was a Craigslist scam, paid with HOA funds. By morning, board members were begging me to take over. I declined. I didn't want power, I wanted sanity. But Linda doubled down, filing a small claims suit against me for defamation and hiring film students to record teary speeches about deputy tyranny. I countered with a motion to remove her from HOA leadership for fraud and endangerment, backed by bank records, witness statements, and footage. The courtroom was packed. Linda strutted in with color-coded binders, no lawyer, just a sign proclaiming self-representation, a citizen's right. She launched into a tirade about her family's legacy and suburban morality, projecting a photo of me barbecuing labeled deputy or dictator. My attorney, Marcus, handed the judge a folder. She detained a deputy, hired unlicensed security, and spent $4,000 in HOA funds on clipboards and armbands. The judge was unimpressed. "Ms. Hargrove, you paid unlicensed men to detain your neighbor. Linda doubled down. I protected my community from a rogue deputy. I stood, holding a single page. Your Honor, I own the HOA's management contract. I bought it to protect Willow Creek. She knew that. The judge ruled. Linda was removed from the HOA, barred from leadership, and warned about perjury. That night, the HOA's insurance broker called. Linda had funneled $10,000 through a fake vendor, Community Safety Solutions. It was prosecutable fraud. Monday morning, I walked into the HOA clubhouse with a warrant. Linda was mid-rant about legal reversals when I said, "Linda Hargrove, you're under arrest for wire fraud and forgery." She froze, then sputtered, "This is a scare tactic." I handed her the papers. "You created a fake business and stole HOA funds." The cuffs went on. Residents watched, one filming, another clapping hesitantly. Linda stayed defiant, head high, even in the cruiser. Her arrest hit the news. HOA president charged in fraud scheme. My phone rang off the hook. Reporters, neighbors, even HOA board members asking me to lead. I said no. At an emergency meeting, I stood on the community lawn in plain clothes. "I'm not your president," I said, "but I'll help fix this." We formed a volunteer board, froze new rules, and planned a barbecue. Kids played, neighbors laughed, and someone brought a cake. No more clipboards. I didn't eat it, but I smiled. Linda's trial came 2 months later. She pled no contest to fraud and false reporting, got probation, community service, and a 5-year HOA ban. She moved to a no HOA neighborhood. Irony, maybe. I keep her old citations as reminders. Power twists fast when unchecked. My driveway's clear now, my mailbox quiet. But I know vigilance matters. Peace isn't freets earned. So what do you think? Was I too hard on Linda, or did she deserve it? Could this happen in your neighborhood? What would you do if your HOA went rogue? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more real-life drama.